Hello. Okay, we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. So, I read your updated post and your post.
Hmm.
Oops. There you go. Nice, nice shot there. So, um, it should be the most, and it is the most joyous occasion ever. All of it, all that's going down, all that's being done. Okay. And right now there is, I guess you could say, there's this transition from non-trust, I mean, not trusting, right?
Right.
People actually applying and enhancing, being just completely aware of their tools of resonance.
Right.
Okay, in my experience, through all, uh, there's nothing to be afraid of at all.
Hmm.
The only time you're afraid is when you think that you won't be able to handle a situation.
Right.
Okay, and what I mean by that is somebody might be perceived as more powerful, more capable, and then trust becomes an issue.
Right.
And it's only because of perception, self-perception of one's own abilities.
Hmm.
Okay, so sort of like that copy of the message, not even message, it was more of a journal note. While I was on the road, and actually I'd come back to Morocco for a bit because Yusuf ended up going to, I think it was El Jadida. And the process that occurred when people were so-called looking under the hood,
Right.
especially during an upgrade that I was doing on this particular vehicle. Okay,
Hmm.
and really, when you understand, when you are aware that you have complete control over the entire experience of all of this and all the multidimensional as well.
Right.
Okay, there's no separation except for that which you actually create.
That's been
And
my experience.
yeah, so, and I'm only speaking from my experience. Okay, I'm not saying any absolutes. I'm just speaking completely from my own experience.
Hmm.
And you know me, I'm all gung ho to play, and I love going in and just doing that which would kind of seem questionable. If it hyper accelerates all, I am more than willing to do it.
Right.
Okay? And the hyper acceleration doesn't mean everyone, every being in form and no form throughout the quantum has to hyper accelerate. It's just that there are those that do want to,
Hmm.
that do choose to. And at times, those particular, let's call them, you can call them paths, but it's not even true. It's more like an ocean. It really is. Is that you blaze those particular light trails, okay?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, that's a base which expands with every doing uh, that particular light path helped open
Hmm.
in awareness. Mind you, all this is awareness. It doesn't mean that it exists when it didn't before. No, it all exists. All potentials, possibilities, probabilities, and all of that exist.
Right.
Okay? And so it's more of just bringing them into awareness. And the tools of resonance really are, when they go warning, 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 it's because it's already been tried and done. And the effects are recorded, the results are recorded as something that caused, people refer to them as a lower frequency,
Hmm.
some refer to them as painful, some refer to them as suffering. You can put any names you want on them. It's just that those experiences are recorded as something that was not too pleasant,
Right.
very valuable because the data is stored and recorded and accessible. Of course, every experience is valuable, and not one is more valuable than another or less than.
Hmm.
It's all data.
Right.
Okay. And so um, I was talking with Mila and Jarmi. They're carrying back a more expansive and comprehensive proposal. And I loved just their heart and their intent. Yusuf had a really good time with them as well. And it was really great to see him open up
Hmm.
and talk. It'd be almost akin to Caleb finally opening up and talking about that which he does secretly. And refuses to talk to anyone about, and yet it's their core. It's the core of being. It's the cosmic or quantum Indiana Jones.
Right.
Everyone is okay. Um, so here's. I love Denise, and I love the fact that you guys are doing what you feel to do. Okay,
Hmm.
and wherever I can support, and as well as hyper accelerate or add to that database of an experience that has never been done before. Okay.
Hmm.
Also create the new now, where a lot of old things are shutting. They've actually been shut down. It's just now it's becoming visible, okay,
Hmm.
and tangible for every state of conscious,
Right.
right? And so what I think would be fun, and what I know is my is always going in and bringing in possibilities that expand beyond the old. So allowing the old to really be let go in pure love and peace because there's something new and exciting that makes the old irrelevant just in any further service because it doesn't transform, so to speak, uh, in the service except for it's now being defrequency, deprogrammed, and then it becomes raw again, and then you're able to use it. So it's always replenishment.
So basically,
It's actually how Earth
it
works.
supersedes the fun of what's coming supersedes the pain of the old. I guess what you're saying.
Absolutely. I'll use birth because I'm quite familiar with that particular one. When you're giving birth, of course, there's been some pain, discomfort, sometimes downright uh, suffering,
Right.
right? And it's mainly physical, but it can be emotional, it can be spiritual, it can be anything. The experience is very unique to each individual woman that actually goes through the process of labor. Okay, and for me, in my experience, I had 4 kids without any kind of medication whatsoever,
Hmm.
and that was my own personal choice for reasons that I saw little babies being sort of non-coherent when they're first born that had the drugs, while people who didn't have anesthesia or any kinds of medications were the babies were very alert, you know.
Hmm.
And the only reason I didn't have it the first time was because they only had one anesthesiologist for the entire hospital, and she just couldn't get to me fast enough. Okay, so they always say it's something that seems like misfortune turns out to be a very great gift,
Right.
later on. Depends on how you want to perceive it. So, anyways, here's my point is that there's a lot of not knowing how to move forward, sensing that there's multiple ways, I mean, an infinite sea of ways, but it's a matter of igniting that imagination, you know,
Hmm.
and letting go of any remnants of fear.
Hmm.
And one of the greatest fears, which is I can understand why certain states of conscious don't want a lot of the stuff that's been done coming out, because it would alter. It would create much mistrust,
Hmm.
right? And I'm not saying any of it's all, candy and dandy and all of that. I'm just saying that from my experience and from my mm, expansive state of conscious, including multiple that where all these things occurred, is that for me, data is data.
Right.
It's all good. Okay, it's all experiences. And at the same time, I completely am aware of each perception and why all this, what Goran calls the 6 degrees of separation, the how, the when, the why, the where, all of that of suffering,
Mm-hmm.
the perception of suffering, pain, distrust, good, evil, holy, bad. I mean, I get it. And I recognize that. And so for me, it's a lot of fun to be able to say, what doing can I do that where it allows for light trails to be just blazed, to shed light, okay, to shine light on all of that without having it be the focal point. So saying if this experience has been recorded with results that have elements of suffering, pain, fear, creating what they've called lower vibrancies, what is a way that we can actually neutralize that data and still have it be available, yet at the same time forge a whole new way of being where no fear is created, only joy is experienced, and yet data can be gathered in a very aware, um, overall foundational manner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that comes with awareness, not all data, not one piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, being able to come out of this lack of awareness. Okay, some people call it the veil, whatever you want to call it. It's just coming into your own awareness. There's not even a lack of awareness. That's impossible. That is the one thing I will say is impossible is a lack of awareness. There's only no awareness of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's still all there and it's buried inside of these vehicles.
Right.
Okay, so it's just a matter of shining the light on that, and then people just, whatever they feel inside, I trust every single being in form and no form that everyone has every single piece of data, not one piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I can do, any doings I can do that will assist in shining the light, and then letting each use their own tools of resonance, okay, and have their own adventure and own experience in expansion, okay, then I am of service in such a way that it can be quiet, it can be loud, it can be seemingly singular, yet at the same time it's comprehensive. It's all. It's whatever experience I choose to have. In this moment, my intent is, as always, is to provide and do all I can do to make sure everyone, every being in form and no form, has the opportunity for expansion of awareness to be able to be and do as they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And obviously, when one is in a state of separation, then harm becomes an issue. Trust becomes an issue. And danger becomes an issue. All these little illusionary points become an issue. Okay? When one's in a state of conscious that's expansive to the point where it includes all states of conscious, you conduct your being and your doing in a completely different manner. Okay? Because you also access all your abilities. Okay? And there's no one that's more powerful. You completely are the captain of your own experience, and nobody can touch it. Not unless you allow them. That's why there's has been so much deception and distraction to try to get people to consent.
Right.
Okay? Without even knowing what they're consenting to or that they are consenting. All of that's been stopped. Okay? Now, it is very aware in the other states of conscious that no contracts, okay, all of them have been satisfied and they've all been concluded. Okay? So now that's why people are going by what they feel. And there's no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's just and. Okay? And so everyone's exploring. I mean, literally quantum Indiana Jones.
Hmm.
Kind of meets Neo, kind of meets, you know, Lara Croft, Jason Bourne, all these other, whatever fun mix and formula. It's all alchemy of frequency, okay?
Hmm.
And alchemy of states of conscious, right? This is all in my experience, mind you. Okay, I'm speaking from my experience and sharing that data as a prelude to what I'm about to propose.
Okay.
Okay? Um, so at this point, I'll just move right into the proposal. You and Denise are having tons of fun, and actually, lots of people are having lots of fun with uh, the Sphere Alliance that she's communicating and transmitting. Okay,
She's doing it
and
very well too, I think.
and receiving. Well, I got to tell you, everyone's brilliant. Everyone's doing everything and every doing well, better than well. It is beyond brilliant. It's beyond magnificent. Okay, it's just a matter of perceptions.
Hmm.
All right, but in my experience, and in what I'm experiencing through everyone, is that it is all brilliant. Okay, no matter how it's perceived by any other, it's all brilliant. What I would like, and what I feel to do at this point, is I sent over, like I said, a more comprehensive and expanded uh, version, proposal of what can be done based on the data that we were all able to share, and lots came out as we move forward. It was like, oh wait, there's this piece, there's this piece, and I mean they were here till like, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning, and I went to bed around 4, and expressed to them that my focus obviously is inner tech, and that's something that brings me joy. But also there's there is all the devices. I don't always all this stuff comes out. Always, okay.
Hmm.
I choose not to limit anyone's experience and how they want to experience all that they be and all that they can do.
Hmm.
Okay, and by there, it's going to expand. It's like a whole new set of tools is being created by this experience of remembering all the abilities.
Hmm.
Okay, and a whole new set of tools are being created because this is the most comprehensive uh, doing in all of creation, in the experience set of all of creation. Never before has it been done
Hmm.
this way, or even close to this way. And this way includes all possibilities. So it's very exciting for many in different states of conscious. And it's really more of a matter of there's been this perception, and I say that very collectively amongst the states of conscious, that there's all these rules, there's all these laws, there's all these uh, policies. Okay. And yes, there were, all of them were taken down. Every single one of them.
Hmm.
So how do you know that they're taken down, like really taken down? Because there's one thing to say, to report, oh, they're taken down, and a whole other thing to say they're taken down and then having people go beyond them.
Right.
Okay? It's sort of like when they said, oh, Colorado and Washington are making it legal for marijuana, and then the feds all came in and closed everybody down that had done the marijuana shops, right?
Right.
And that's been a battle going on for, however long, and now it's coming to its conclusion, you know? So I get that. So the best way that I've experienced in going in and showing that something does not apply anymore is by me doing a doing that actually is experiential or experiential for people to see that it doesn't apply anymore. Okay?
Hmm.
So here's what I propose, and this is more of I'm going to make this fun for me as well. Okay?
Okay.
So the question is more of a collective question. Okay? And when I say a collective question, I'm talking all states of conscious, but there are pockets or groups or groupings that absolutely know the answer to this question. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to put forward that collective question, one. And then what I'll do, if you're game to play, if you want to play,
Sure.
is you can feel the follow up questions, you
Okay.
and Denise both.
Okay.
Now, here's my goal. Okay, here's what I envision is that based on their answer, okay, the proposal I'm about to make is dependent on their answer, and also you get to test whether they are required to be completely transparent,
Mm-hmm.
or answer all questions, I believe is how you put it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's kind of fun. We get to test all this out, okay?
Okay.
So there's a collective question, and I'm not going to go and venture into any other being. I'll do it as I've always done it, which is I'll just start with me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm responsible and I can access everything about me. All right, without intruding into any perceptions.
Right.
Okay, and this question, I'm going to pull from the collective questions, and one that's been resounding since the first moment that we've talked, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then based on the comprehensiveness and the accuracy or the transparency, however you want to call it, um, then this proposal can be activated.
Okay.
Okay? And this doing, I'm very excited about because it does assist in a very transparent way to show that none of this stuff applies. Everything's forging ahead in a very positive way. So it also assists a collective goal in the states of conscious, collective states of conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Taking down borders of perception. Okay, so start with the question of who am I?
Who am I as
Who
referring
is
to?
Heather Ann Tucci-Jarraf?
Okay.
Okay, and I would phrase it more in uh, what energetic frequencies, what
Okay.
energetic signatures constitute Heather Ann Tucci-Jarraf,
Okay.
because that's a more accurate way to state it, because this is all multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
It's quantum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by addressing that, and that can be done privately. It doesn't have to be made public.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is for you and Denise and myself to play.
Mm-hmm.
And later, if it's something that is felt to serve all of creation, then so be it. I'm open to all this because I said it's time to be transparent, and the best way I know how is to start with me.
Right.
Okay,
I know most of
so
that question myself, but um, yeah, let's go for it.
well, you always a lawyer never asks a question that they don't already know the answer to.
That
I
is
should say
true.
a good lawyer, a good lawyer. Okay, so what energetic signatures constitute the being, also known as Heather and Tucci-Jarraf?
Okay.
Okay, and states very clearly that their answer, okay, has the potential to open up many, many light paths
Mm-hmm.
and forge new ones, synapses, quantum synapses. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm full game, complete, because in the filings, this is what uh, I wanted to make sure that there was no getting around certain things. And mind you, those filings were written from multiple states of conscious, different formulas of multiple states of conscious in order to address every part of all the experience. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all I guess hierarchies. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was a very collective and cooperative um, doing,
Mm-hmm.
collective, and collectively. Okay, so that answer. Now here's my proposal. They talk about the genome projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first off, human. They call it species. That for me, as I've expressed before, it just is what it is. Okay, perceptions will always be unique. And that's a beautiful part of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's such a efficient way to collect data by not having multiple programs of the same program running.
Right.
When they're unique, each one is gathering from a completely different vantage point all the possible data. All potentials are realized in different states of conscious and gathered in.
Like a movie with multiple cameras going.
Mhm. Absolutely. Even changing the camera angle changes the whole film.
It does. It really does.
Okay, so um, the I had the beautiful experience of about 99% of my teammates in college whose parents were all involved in the Genome Project. Okay, and to see their excitement of and hear their excitement, because we would have dinners at almost all their houses. They would host our team whenever we would travel, to play for different universities. And to hear them talk about it, first off, I always just barely engaged in any of that conversation because I didn't know jack about science. Okay, it's one of the areas that I purposely can say now that I purposely avoided. Science is one that I purposely avoided. Okay, politics is another.
Hmm.
Although people may argue differently at this point. Um, so I would state there's something they haven't said. Okay, and I doubt it'll be said shortly. It'll be once the show is going, but to hyper accelerate that show, if I can, I will.
Hmm.
I do. Okay. Um, Mila and those guys, there's a whole bunch of abandoned areas up there,
Oh yeah.
hotels, that kind of a thing. Okay. So we revised. I get their proposal, and I think it's beautiful. I told, and Yusuf is right now he's working through. He's got some meetings today,
Hmm.
but even he expressed how he's not happy doing what he's doing because he feels that he can give so much more,
Hmm.
and that's really where his passion is, where his heart is, and that's my experience in feeling each of you.
Hmm.
That there's something more that we can do and something fantastical and joyous for each of us particularly,
Hmm.
but also for the collective.
Right.
Okay, and so these abandoned hotels that they have at the like three cities,
Hmm.
Treville and all these other things, is to go and have a place where we're all able to go and experience
Hmm.
and bring this stuff out.
Hmm.
Okay, they told me about the expert in crystals
Hmm.
that sits up there, and that's a huge part that's coming out shortly. Is the knowledge about crystals, and I'm not talking about the New Ager version that has been commandeered and co-opted, for disinformation purposes. I'm talking about the real stuff, the data storage, the amplifiers, and so here's what um, I would like is that I want to make sure that you and Denise feel confident, okay, in the data that's being received. That's why I'm asking a question which you pretty much know most of the answer to, okay, and one that I know the answer to,
Hmm.
okay, and most have their feelings about me, period.
Hmm.
But it's also a way for these tools of resonance to be finally tested,
Right.
okay? So that's why I started with a question that I did. And seeing their accuracy and their comprehensiveness and the transparency. And I give full permission for all that data to be released.
Okay.
Okay, now permission really isn't necessary. It really isn't. But for those perceptions that believe it is, I give it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, with my full responsibility with all I am. In the filings, it's not even just about knowing. One of the requirements is that everyone experience being I am. That's why none of the soul contracts and all that stuff could ever be regenerated
Hmm.
or re-engaged. Okay. Harvesting, yes, I get it. It's mainly just about data
Hmm.
and the ability to have that data to be able to create something even more expansive.
DNA is data.
Yeah, absolutely. It's storage.
Hmm.
It's like a USB.
It's yeah,
I
it's
mean,
information.
to make it very primitive and crude, it's like a USB.
Hmm.
Okay, to use a tool that is very common and people have some kind of experience with.
Right.
Okay, and so here's the thing: all this storage has gone on for millennium. All right,
Hmm.
and none of it can be accessed at this point through the human bodies.
Hmm.
So it's sort of like having a bank and everyone depositing in it, and then all of a sudden all the doors are shut and they can't access their boxes and their accounts. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what my proposal is. Okay, if we're all going to play in transparency, which is the only requirement that I have, pure love and transparency.
Hmm.
And when there's pure love, there's always transparency.
Hmm.
Okay, um, no other requirements. And I would be more than happy to even alter how these genome projects, multi-dimensional genome projects, have been done.
Hmm.
Okay, so the vessel I have, nobody can alter what's in there, but they can access it.
Hmm.
So I will open that up, and having the space to do that up in that area is one of the components of of this whole comprehensive project for the intertech to be able to come out.
Hmm.
Okay, now before, see, I'm aware of the value of this data, not just mine, but that is in every vessel.
Right.
Okay. Now, here's the specific part which you guys can ask about is that the DNA in one human, okay, contains also the DNA of every other human.
Okay.
Okay. And to make this very simplified, right, very simple, that's what I state. Now, they can't alter any of the human DNA. They can't alter any of it. When I say, and I wouldn't even use the word extract,
Hmm.
I would use the word access.
Hmm.
So it's similar to you creating something and you retaining all rights to that particular thing, but everyone can experience it.
Right.
Does that make sense, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone retains their own rights to their own, but you can see, because in order to see one particular DNA in a vacuum is completely inaccurate. When you see all DNA in totality of all DNA, now they have the databases of all the other DNAs in other states of conscious. Hmm. The ones that they don't have access to right now are the what has been referred to as the humans.
Hmm.
Okay, and it creates it's like having it's like cache, giving 99% of all the data and keeping that 1%, which is the key to all the others.
Hmm.
Sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay, so um, I am very aware that having access to the data without being able to manipulate, change it, or use it to manipulate or change everyone's human experience. All those safeguards have been put up.
Hmm.
Okay? All those safeguards from perceptions has been implemented.
Hmm.
And there are no holes.
Hmm.
Okay? And that was done collectively by all states of conscious to make sure that this experience could just expand at the speed of heart.
Hmm.
Okay? So my vessel, which there's no need for destruction of any vessel, none whatsoever. In fact, all it does is enhance it. But to say that is one thing, and to have someone experience it is a whole nother.
Right.
Because you have to overcome fear of a multitude of fears in order to even attempt or fathom to do it,
Hmm.
right? Well, I already have that experience. I already have that knowledge. So I'm willing to go ahead and do that. And what I'd like to do is do a cooperation with this particular Sphere Alliance, and they're very aware of who I am. Okay? So, and when I say who I am, I mean any formulation at any given time. They have access to see that, but from a where they can't actually access any data that I don't give them in some way. I'm saying full unfettered access. Okay? And really, one human DNA, one human's DNA is actually worth the value of every piece of technology, advanced so-called technology that's in existence.
We are the value, aren't we?
You know, and when you, hold on one second. Layla wants to make hot chocolate milk. 1 second. Okay, so is to be able to go in, number one, and have this question asked. And the purpose of asking this question is really for you, Denise, to feel confident, and also Mila and all these other guys to feel confident in the possibilities that are now knocking at the door, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this particular vessel and the human DNA within it is completely, I would like to put into this project and to have it done up where those guys are.
Okay.
In one of the abandoned places where we can actually just really go to town and have fun in having these multidimensional experiences and bringing them, opening the door to the physical. And like I said, it's a matter of saying, okay, sorry, I had to light my cigarette. It's a matter of saying, not saying, doing. Okay, to make things visible. So that's the proposal I have. Number one, ask the question. And then from there, you and Denise and I can communicate to see what feelings are coming forward. And like I said, you pretty much know the answer. So it's a great way to also do that final test and also to open the doorway for all that to come into physicality.
Okay.
Okay, which is really the desire of other states of conscious at this point. Many do not know what this, they call it Earth, but it's so much more. Okay? Even the word heaven. I love John Lennon's Imagine. You know, the word heaven is a heavily coded and charged word. And it is an experience. And it exists anywhere that you choose. All right? So all the inner tech and all the advanced tech is to bring that in at the same time and have this whole thing documented. Okay, in all ways. Now everything's recorded. These vessels actually are recording vehicles. So everything's been recorded since the beginning. Okay, but to also use the additional current technology here, cameras, video, whatever, to add that as well so it can be documented. That way every state of conscious has some access to at least the doings, specifically, which introduce the concepts and also neutralize things that have been done in the past. Okay? So that's what I propose, is to have situate a place where everyone can do all these great doings, whatever is imagined, whatever is fathomed, and in doing it in such a way that there's complete awareness. So it would be an aware, conscious doing, which is where everything was intended to go in the first place. Okay? Lack of conscious was never intended, but it was added. And now it's time for that to all come off. So in this particular project would be to have a space where all of this can come down, and the doors are open to every state of conscious to also appear, those in form and in no form, all beings in form and no form. Even those in no form can utilize or have a form created for whatever length of period for enjoying this experience in such a way that it's tangible to everyone else.
Okay, it sounds like we have actually three questions then. We've got who you are. Let's recap if I understand this correctly. Who you are energetically. Um, and then if, depending on their answer, we propose the situation about the DNA.
Yeah, I would actually do it all in one.
Okay.
Okay, and yes, I guess you could say I'm incentivizing, as Jonathan Betts would say. But it's more of a, hey, I'm willing to play. So first you just, you put it all together. It's really one component, one doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So ask the question. And also state that before they've answered, to also state that here's what I am proposing. Okay, to be able to do these genome projects, but you don't have to, it's bringing the multidimensional aspects into the physical so that everything can be done in a very transparent way and in a tangible way, not just visceral.
I got a James Bond type helicopter just showed up.
This is my, and also in this project will be utilized the replicator technology specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and all the other technologies to
Okay.
come out.
Okay.
And everything's documented, real time,
Mm-hmm.
and transparent. I don't care how many cameras and videos and all of that stuff, because it is already all recorded,
Mm-hmm.
okay, through the vehicles themselves. And all this technology shall come out
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And it'll be my DNA that I will be more than happy to put into this genome project in a very aware way,
Mm-hmm.
which complies also with the parameters that have been set collectively amongst all I am, that everyone be knowing and experiencing all I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the proposal. And I've already given the physical space or area. And I believe the one that we've looked at is an abandoned hotel that has like 50 some rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of work to be done. And I told them, I go, do you know who Bill is? Do you know what his experiences are? Then you add the replicator technology to go in, and as well as the inner tech that's going to be coming out because of this engagement of cooperation amongst multidimensional and multi-state of states of conscious. That all that stuff can be fixed up in that speed of heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not concerned about that. But we also have real practical experience in restoration between Ananda, between you, between Yusef, between myself, and many others.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not worried about any of this. It really is just a matter of speed.
Right.
Okay? But when there's a cooperation amongst all states of conscious, it happens like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm focused, is on hyper accelerating all that coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that is the totality. And I'm giving very a loose foundation here, because I don't want to limit any possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I want all potentials to remain open and for us all to go as we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I guess you could say free will choice is a mainstay component of all of this.
Right.
When you're acting in pure love, when you are being only in pure love, you realize that free will choice is just a whole nother coded thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But it's a perception that I completely recognize as existing in this moment now. So it has to be included.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I can control all aspects of any kind of perception
You dropped out.
interfering
You still there?
with the potentials of this expansion by using my own vehicle. Yeah, I'm here.
You
Can you
dropped
hear me?
out when you said you could control
Can you
this.
hear me,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Bill? Yes. Okay, just like with the investigations I did,
Hmm.
I was able to control all aspects of interference by perception by using my own house
Hmm.
and personally working through any perceptions of fear, um, any elements of fear.
Right.
Okay, and also moving ahead and also pushing the expansion from within at the same time. So I'm going to stick with that particular method by using my own vehicle and being able to control the any interference by alleviating any interference of my own perception,
Hmm.
meaning any remnants of fear, any remnants um, of ego, if you want to call it that, whatever elements would interfere, I will control and make sure that they're alleviated,
Hmm.
so that all potentials are able to be realized as we feel to do throughout this experience.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's where we are.
Okay.
But I would like it well documented in all ways.
Okay. Including this call.
Yep.
Okay.
I know this call was very messy. I think would be the word, messy. But mind you, I'm thinking, editing, and publishing, so to speak, all at once.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, that, and I'm barely able to contain my excitement, my joy, and this feeling of a great adventure. As Robin Williams said, as Peter Pan, to live, that is a great adventure.
Hmm. Sure is.
Okay,
Okay.
so there we go.
All states of consciousness already have this, but they do like formal invitations. So I will type this up as well.
Yeah,
And
it is a formal invitation. They've already gotten it. There's been much discussion about it, um, but I am formally making this invitation, and would love to include the particular frequencies of Mila and Dharmi, yourself, and Lisa. At some point, Shannon will be involved. Everyone is actually involved, regardless of uh, awareness or levels, perceived levels of participation. So I'm very aware of the alchemy of the frequencies, and that the formula will change. And it actually is like you have a core, so like a heart, and it pulses in and out like a heartbeat as you change up the formula
hmm.
of beings. And I think this is where we'll finally also be able to state with complete awareness the value of that whole Aushtam experience,
Hmm.
and let it go.
Hmm.
And I'm speaking more in reference to the particulars that were involved.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Okay.
So, formal invitation is made, and then you go ahead and uh, do as you feel to do to be able to communicate. It's already been communicated, but I wanted to do it always.
Hmm.
Okay?
All right.
Give Denise my love,
I will.
and it's always flowing. So she just has to, open awareness to it, but it's always there.
Okay.
Same to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Let's have fun.
Okay. Let's do it. Oh, this is fun.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Bye.